Balazs, head coach at Pitt State here in Pittsburg, Kansas. I'm originally from Lenexa, Kansas. Played Shawnee Mission West high school, played basketball and softball. Then on to Jury, where I played for 4 years.
All right. And so we'll just do so high school softball. Did it influence your decision to coach or not?
Not really. That was never on my radar at that time. For me, it was just about playing. I just love to play the game. I love to compete and to get better, and that's what my focus was. Just helping my teammates and putting a good product on the field.
All right. And so then when you got to Jury, was that kind of the first time you realized that this could be more than just like a high school college thing? It could be like a lifetime thing for you?
Yeah, so kind of two different moments. I don't really remember the order or anything, but one was my mom. It was sometime during, I think, my junior year, and she was like, "Hey, maybe you should think about coaching. You're really passionate about the game. Your teammates, they listen to you, things like that. You should think about it." I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe I'll think about it. But still, man, I was all about playing and wasn't really thinking about my career. And then one of my teammates, we were in the cage hitting, and I was helping her a little bit. She's a really, really good player. But I was just talking shop with her, and she kind of knew my work ethic in the weight room and how much I loved everything. It wasn't just softball; it was the weight room and being a competitor and everything that it takes to be a good player at the college level and then ultimately to coach. She goes, "You should think about coaching. I think you would be really good at it." So kind of those two moments got it on my radar, and then I decided to run with it once I graduated, and it's worked out pretty well for me.
I would say so. So who gave you your first coaching job?
So that was Coach Frost at the University of Indianapolis. So I GA'd for 2 years, which was a fantastic experience. In high school and college, when I first started, as a freshman, we really, really struggled. And then as I got to my senior year, we grew, and we were decent by that time. But when I got there, they had already won 35, 30 games consistently, had one World Series appearance, I think 2 years before I got there. And then it was like, holy cow, winning 50 games a year is a complete blast. So it was very much a much different experience. Um, but what was awesome about it, I was able to see what culture does. We had a lot of pretty good players in high school and college, but we just didn't have the culture that they had there. And I got to see how Coach Frost, carried out her plan and how she ran her program, and obviously, the person and the coach that she is was a big part of our success there and their continued success. So, yeah, it was Coach Frost who got me going and kind of just ran with it ever since. Very thankful for her and what she's done for me, and honestly, a lot of players and a lot of coaches have gone through her and are doing a great job with their careers.
All right. And so then where did you go next after that?
So then I decided that I wanted to be a head coach right away at the age of 24 or 23 or whatever it was when I accepted the job. And it was La Crosse, Wisconsin, Turbo, a small NAIA school there. Had a lot of really good coaches around me that could help kind of mold me and help eliminate some mistakes. So that was great, and I learned a lot about my leadership and some things that I needed to work on. And there, just didn't have a lot of resources, things like that. So then I decided to make the jump after that.
So then you went to somewhere before Pitt State after that, right? In between?
Yep. So I went to Evansville, where I was assistant for 3 years under Coach Mundell. He's a fantastic guy, a great coach, extremely passionate about his players. And he gets them to play really hard for him. And I didn't necessarily get that at Viterbo, so I felt like it was a really good match for me to kind of address some of my weaknesses. And it's definitely helped me become more well-rounded at this point in my career.
All right. So Pitt State's obviously D2. I know Evansville is D1. So how did that experience kind of translate to D2? What have you found is more difficult at a lower level school, and what is a little bit easier for you at a Division two?
Recruiting is definitely different. I don't have to go as far to find really good players. And we're surrounded by pretty good areas here at Pitt. Versus at Evansville, I was traveling 6-7 hours 3 weekends in a row to go recruiting. And when you're at the D1 level, it's you work a camp, you recruit for 3 or 4 days, so you're on the road 5 out of the 7 days of the week, and you do it 8 or 9 weeks in a row. Versus here, it's more drive up and back. Maybe when they're in Kansas City, I stay with my parents. But the recruiting is a lot less demands and time demands. Obviously, you're still on the phone. You're still at tournaments and stuff. It's just a lot easier to get to tournaments and to find quality players. I'm actually really lucky here from a facility standpoint that I'm better off than what we were there. And usually that's not the case when you go D2. So I'm definitely lucky there. But, our travel in the spring is a lot less. We're driving 2 hours, 3 hours. Our opening weekend was 5 versus in conference play when you're at Evansville, you're going 6 hours. You're playing doubles Saturday, singles Sunday, so you're on the road 3 days. Here, we go up and back a lot more. So the travel demands even in the season are a lot less.
All right, and so then, what would you say? So that's the differences. Like when you go recruit, is it mainly summertime, springtime, fall? Like, what would you say is your biggest period for recruiting?
Um, June, June and July are huge for us, which is really nice. We don't need to worry about our girls. Our only focus is focusing on the future a little bit, getting some recruits in. And then we do a little bit again in October, which that's honestly probably one of the toughest months that we have because we're going full time with our girls, and then we're recruiting Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday, whatever it may be. Um, so yeah, that part is tough, but yeah, I mean it's mostly those 2 times, and then I went on the road a little bit this past weekend when our tournaments got canceled to do some JUCO recruiting. So you kind of fit catching or checking in on your committed kids and getting a few looks at some JUCO kids here and there in the spring, but mostly June and July and October.
All right, and so then, how hard is it to let your team just kind of like go do their own thing in the summer? Since you obviously can't focus on them all the time, because if you want to have people in the future, you clearly have to go do some other recruiting.
Um, it's tough. I think about it a lot, but at the same time, when you have a good culture, they understand that they need to do it on their own. Our strength and conditioning coach gives them a plan, and it's up to them to carry it out and to hold their teammates accountable. And when you have a good culture, usually they do an all right job. And so, I think this upcoming summer, our girls are going to do a good job keeping themselves in shape and, getting us ready to be able to start quickly once they come back in September. But, yeah, we do worry about it, but we just have to trust that they're competitors and they want to put in the work.
How would you say, is it hard to build culture? You use that word a lot, building good culture. Was it hard for you to build good culture at Pitt State?
Yes and no. I've been really lucky that I do have some girls who have bought in right away, and really us as a whole, it was pretty easy. They kind of jumped on board with what my vision is, and that's just a lot of hard work. We get after it on a daily basis, and our girls, they've enjoyed that. They've enjoyed working hard, and yes, their bodies are tired at times, but they see the payoff and how we've been able to compete against some pretty good teams this spring. So they've done a good job. So yes, it can be very difficult if your kids don't buy in, but our girls have done a pretty good job. And anytime I have something that's bothering me, I just go to them. I say, hey, this is how I'm feeling. Let's make an adjustment. And they make an adjustment. So we talk through a lot of things, and I think that's helped us a lot too.
All right. And so who do you want to thank for helping you, be where you're at today?
Definitely Coach Frost and Coach Mundell. They've been big mentors to me. They've helped me out in different areas, which I think is great. And yeah, I mean, in my family and my friends, I'm extremely dedicated to what I do, and I'm very fortunate that they don't put me in a position where I have to choose very often. They understand that when spring comes, that I'm not going to be able to make everything. I've got a wedding of a really good high school friend here in a couple weeks, and I'm not going to be able to go. But they understand that, and they don't make me feel bad or anything like that. And then when I do have time, I do my best to be with them. So definitely thankful for Coach Frost and Coach Mundell, and then really just my friends and family who have allowed me to pursue this, and that doesn't always happen. It's very demanding on your family and friends as well.